Right, welcome to this edition of Your Call. We've got two people we'll be talking to. We're talking to Dr. Ralph Katwinkel, who's going to talk about the surgery he did after Jet Explorer fell a few months back to get the horse back on track. And he's the vet that invests, and he'll tell us about his success as an owner. And then we're speaking to Graham Hawkins, who will be telling us where we're going with our tracks at the moment. But Ralph, thanks very much for coming in. The vet that invests. You've always owned horses.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, you know, I started in '95, and so it's 19 years now that I've had. And in the beginning, it was just a little share here and there, and it's really since 2010 that I've put a bit more investment into shares and horses. And this racing year that's just ended now, I've just had the most unbelievable good fortune. You know, I had 11 winners, 9 seconds, and 11 thirds. You know,
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You got all your stats. What are your stats? How many horses have you raced, put it that way?
48, and I've had 430 runners in those 19 years.
Okay.
And
how many winners?
43 winners.
That's very good.
43 winners. And if I take first, second, third positions, I had a 30.7% success rate.
That's fantastic. And you got them spread with a few trainers, so
yeah.
you're having fun, and you're putting it back in. And obviously your best horse is your Group 1 winner this year.
Well, that was a cherry on the cake. You know, Duncan Howells just said to me early on, he said, do you want to get involved? And I've had horses with him that haven't done so well, and then he said, yeah, he thinks it's a good filly. And what she's done has just been mind-blowing. You know, to experience that, and I think you've done that now on Gold Cup Day as well, it's just, you know, that's the greatest feeling that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And for doing nothing other than investing in a horse, really, and it comes as a surprise. It comes as a real, genuine.
Yeah, it is a surprise, and it's a wonderful feeling. It doesn't just finish that day. It lasts and lasts.
Yeah.
The better the horse, the longer the feeling. But let's go and have a look at Ralph. Got involved with saving Jet Explorer, who had a terrible fall. We're going to show you part of the race, and the film cuts away as he loses his balance, and then we're going to talk about what was done after the race. Let's have a look at the race.
Sets. And become starting clear. They're on their way in the rising sun. Gold challenge of R1 million, and Beach Beauty overcomes the draw. Beach Beauty's off to the lead. Silver Age is right there shortly after the start. Then comes King of Pain. Yorker, the big white blazers near the rail. On the outside, Pomodora, that's got the red cap. Rio Carnival. Beach Beauty is now settled about 3 lengths off the leader. Then comes White Line Fever, followed by Jet Bell. Jet Bell's racing about 6 lengths off the leader. There's no pace on us. King of Pain sets the fractions. Astro News is on the outside, and Cape Town was...
There, we just captured at the back, and the Divine Silks. You can see the white cap, it clips heels and goes down. Now, Ralph, you were called in. What did you find when you got there?
It was a day that I was actually at the races. Target 5 and Air Patrol ran earlier in the day, and Air Patrol beat Target 5, both Jet Masters. And then after the race, I was there with Pat and Henry Devine, and we were chatting, and they said, well, they hope they're going to have success with their runners. And I was actually about to leave the course, and then Justin phoned, and we'd both seen the race, but I didn't know that it was Jet Explorer that had fallen. Anyway, I got the call, and then Rob Crosley, the Jockey Club vet, was already examining the Jet Explorer. And we could see, and we'll see from the slides now, that there was a fracture to the lower mandible.
Let's have a look at the and here, this is a shocking break, not for the squeamish. It's sort of broken down the middle here, Ralph.
Yeah, what had really happened is that he fractured his lower jaw down the middle.
Okay, if we can just come in on that, if you can just lift that up into view, we'll pick that off the camera. So it's quite evident there.
So if we look here, let me just see if I can turn
it towards me. I think. Yeah, that's right. You've got a black line there.
If we can look, I'll take the upper jaw out the way there. So we had a split down the middle between the incisors, and then a fracture on either side through the mandible. So there were 2 distinct pieces.
And severe discomfort for the horse.
Yeah, shock and discomfort. And then the other fracture that we only discovered after further examination at the hospital was that he broke right across the maxilla as well. So the whole upper jaw here was broken.
There now, Can we just go back to show the public the black line that you've got here on the upper jaw? There it is. There.
Broke right across this.
What kept it together? Just sinews or?
Well, there's quite a bit of muscle and there's quite a bit of tissue holding that in position.
So you found this horse with things really in a poor state at Clarewood.
At the races. So
let's have another quick look at this next slide or two that you got, Ralph, before you tell us what you did. Here is another slide. Now, Ralph, what is this?
That's just showing how the fracture line went down the middle between the front incisors, and it was actually split right down the center.
Yeah, sure, you can see it. And now this horse is heavily sedated while you're working with him?
Yeah, what the call was really is, because he'd run, and most importantly, because his upper jaw, the top and the bottom, were both unstable, to put him through a general anesthetic and try and repair it, the risk of refracturing and recovery was so high.
Yes.
So I made the decision to do the whole procedure standing, and that is probably what makes it...
Did you put him in a crush? Or?
Correct. He was in a crush, and then, this is a team effort. I've had Dr. Sean Miller was helping, my nurse was helping. I mean, this is at...
You need your team there now.
6 o'clock in the evening, the horse came in, we were operating for 2 hours.
Did you ship him up?
We shipped him up. So...
Heavily sedated, Ralph, just for the public out there?
Dr. Rob Crosley gave them the emergency treatment, and then when he got to the hospital, I obviously did the thorough examination, realized that it was a lot worse than initially seen.
Yeah.
And remember, or nobody really knows, but Jet Explorer, you can't examine outside the box. You can't trot him and touch him. He goes berserk. So there was no chance to examine him at the races.
Yes.
The proper examination took place at the hospital. And I thought I'd overcommitted myself. When I just thought one piece had broken away. When I realized how bad the fracture was, I got a bit of a fright.
Were there more slides, Ralph?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not sure. Okay. Now there's wires. What are those red things?
Those red lines are just indications where the fracture lines were.
Okay.
And the wires are really the stabilizing wires that are used in stabilizing the fracture.
You had to drill?
Yeah, and that is, I think, I've repaired fractured jaws under general anesthetic. The technique is not that difficult, but to do it standing, I think, is a challenge. And the wires in the lower part of the jaw, let me take the upper jaw off.
Yeah, put that down there.
Working on the lower part of the jaw and wiring this together, putting little wires around and fixing this part up. What I did is wired these two teeth together, and then the canine teeth, and absent in this horse, I wired those together. So we had a little bridges of wire going around there. But the bad fracture was obviously this one.
So how did you keep that stable?
Well, the only way to do that was really to bring wires in from the back going forward. So the technique I used was, the horse was now sedated, and you won't believe it, but you cut a hole through the cheek. So you feel the gap.
Yes.
You feel the gap. You cut a hole through the cheek with a scalpel blade, and then you literally line this up and you drill.
What is the little attachment you've put on there? To steady it, or?
No, this little guide is just to stop the drill bit getting caught up in the tissue.
Okay.
So you've made your incision through the cheek, and then you're actually drilling between there. Then you feed the wire through. Okay, so you bring your wire through the cheek, then you pull the wire through there, and then you bring it through and you bring it forward, and then you actually tighten it up. And if you look here, you can see.
Oh, it's a spin method.
Yeah, you've got a loop now, and then you actually just spin it like you would do a.
What are the risks of infection?
No, they're there. There was grass, there was mud and everything in the fracture. So there were high risks, but look, the challenge was really to try and stabilize it enough that he could actually eat. All right?
Did he start eating?
Very soon, because they eat with the back teeth as well. So the fact that the front was out of play, you could still eat.
What type? Did you have to give him a muesli type feed?
Correct. In the beginning, soft feed.
Soft feed.
And then very quickly, he actually went back to eating hay and lucerne.
And how long would the wires stay in for?
Well, we left them in 6 weeks.
As long as that?
Yeah.
And you've removed them?
We've removed them. Have a look at the next slide. And
okay. Let's
we'll
have a
see
look
the
at the
series
next slide.
of. That is just an indication of where the lower jaw was fractured.
This is the x-rays, eh?
The red lines show the fracture lines, and the wires are obviously those that are put in place.
Okay, is there, are there
There
more?
more, yeah.
Keep coming with the slides. The next slide we're going to look at now, Rolf, you'll explain this to us. Here we go. Ooh.
Okay, you can see a lot of bruising there. And
are those your wires? Sorry, Rolf.
yes, that's the wire you can see under the tongue there is the one that goes across the canine teeth, the tushes.
Yes.
So I brought that fracture, those two sides together, and then I brought the front together with wire, and then I had to fix from the back.
Yeah. Next slide, please.
Okay,
that's you holding his tongue.
Yeah, I'm holding down. You can see the bruising now on the upper jaw.
Oh, is that? Oh,
yeah,
yes,
see
that
that? Yeah, all that
pink.
red
Yeah.
bruising.
That was. What is that from? Your work or the
No,
fall?
no, from the fall.
From the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he was very swollen from the fall. A little bit from the surgery, but mainly from the fall.
Okay. Are there more slides?
Yeah, I think they're coming through.
Put them through the slides. We can talk away. Okay, here we are wired up again. That's
Yeah.
what you spoke about.
Yeah.
Now, he ate for 6 weeks with these wires.
Yeah,
there.
he did.
And did he lose much condition? Did Justin tell you?
Yeah, he lost a little bit, but not too badly. I think we were happy with him. You know, the risk of overfeeding in this state that they're in is that they get
Could he
colic.
walk and trot?
Oh, yeah. And that is also the nice thing in retrospect, is that he only injured his jaw, upper and lower jaw. He didn't damage his limbs, or
That's right.
he had no neck injury or anything like
Nothing
that.
like
So that gave us hope. And there's just an image of the skeleton now with
Looks
the
like
wires
someone's
that
foot.
were in place. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there more slides?
I think that's probably just
That's-
post. I think
Right. The question I'm going to ask you, what the public's going to ask, what is the condition of the horse now?
Well, he travelled back a couple of weeks ago with the rest of Justin's string. I think the Monday after Gold Cup Day, he travelled back to the Cape. And I spoke to Justin this morning. He's back in work. He's happy with him, and he'll do fine. Yeah.
Divines must be thrilled.
Pat and Henry Devine, yeah, great. And I must really just say thank you to them, Pat and Henry, and to Justin. They gave the horse a chance.
Yeah.
You know, we're always sitting in the background, and we are ready for an event that might occur or might not occur. And you just got to be prepared at all times. And here's an example. I was at the races. Things worked out. And then, most importantly, he's a tough horse.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ralph, thanks very, very much for your time. It's very, very interesting. There we are. That's Ralph Katwinkel, who sorted out Jet Explorer's jaw.